Hi everyone, it's Peter Schiff. This is Thursday, July 1st, 2010. Well, we've been getting a lot of volatility in the markets and a lot of very weak economic data that has been behind it. First of all, last week we got news from home sales. We had the biggest drop in new home sales, I think, in 40 years. Also, earlier this week, as part of the consumer confidence numbers, we found out that only 3% of Americans are now planning to buy a car, and that's the lowest percentage since they began taking the survey back in 1967. Also today we got more news on homes from pending sales. They dropped by 30%. So basically what we're seeing is a collapse in demand for homes and automobiles. Coincidentally, that's where all the stimulus was focused. We had cash for clunkers. We got people to buy new cars. We brought all that demand forward, and we went into debt to buy new cars. Well, now we're deeper in debt before, and no one has to buy any cars. The same thing with houses. We had all kinds of government incentives, tax credits to buy homes. Now that those tax credits are gone, home sales are collapsing because we pulled forward that demand. But also, in addition to having bought cars and houses that maybe people couldn't have afforded, now we have more debt. So now we're in even a deeper hole than we were before the government decided to stimulate the economy. Now also we got news today from ADP, or I think that was yesterday, where the jobs numbers, the jobs created were a lot weaker than expected. And that's also got people worrying about tomorrow's non-farm payrolls number. Also today we got a jump up in unemployment claims. Again, a harbinger of some bad news coming out tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, I think that the job numbers are going to be very weak. Now we know there's been a lot of people laid off, the temporary census workers. So the number is going to be a negative number. But more importantly than that is going to be private sector job creation or private sector job destruction, as the case may be. But we'll find that out tomorrow. Meanwhile, the stock market really looks weak to me. The Dow is decisively below 10,000, and it seems that it could drop quite a bit further from here, given the technicals that we see. Also, if you look at the bond market is breaking out. The yield on the 10-year is now below 3%. It looks like the yield in the short run can drop quite a bit more than that. And I think what this strength in bonds is foretelling is very weak economic data, return to recession, or from my perspective, we never left the depression. We just had that temporary bounce that has only made the next leg down that much worse. Of course, eventually, the bond market is going to have to figure out that a weak economy is bearish for bonds, not bullish. Because in a weak economy, we get more stimulus. And the more stimulus means bigger budget deficits, and it means more inflation. All of that is negative for bonds. It's not positive. But right now, the bond market is focused on the initial effects of a weakening economy, on the Fed keeping interest rates down. It's not looking at the secondary effects or the ultimate effects of the inflation that results from that policy and how that destroys the long-term value of U.S. government bonds. When the market figures that out, that's when the U.S. is going to be in much more serious trouble. Now, a market that acted more rationally today for a change was the currency market. Now, the last time I blogged, I mentioned that I thought that the euro was putting it a head and shoulders bottom, and conversely, the dollar index a head and shoulders top. And I thought that it looked to me like the bear market rally in the dollar had come to an end. I think today's actions prove that my observation was likely correct. The dollar index really collapsed today. It was down about 1.75%. We decisively now broke through the necklines of those head and shoulders tops and bottoms and completed the pattern. The dollar was weak across the board today. It was weak, very weak against the Japanese yen, extremely weak against the euro and the Swiss franc, and it even fell against the other currencies around the world as well. Gold, on the other hand, was off almost $50 today. Now, I wouldn't think or jump to any conclusions that the gold bull market is coming to an end. I saw somebody on CNBC who was quick to say, aha, this is it. Gold is broken down, get out. We've been in a bull market for 10 years. There have been plenty scary one-day big drops along the way. I think today's drop was triggered by the surge in the euro. I think a lot of people who have been buying gold were buying it as a hedge against a weak euro. Now that the euro is finding its footing and rising, especially considering that Europe is embracing austerity while we're still embracing Keynes and the stimulus, I think the fact that the euro is strengthening is going to undermine some of the buying of gold that was coming out of the euro. But ultimately, if I'm correct, and the dollar is now going to be weakening against the euro, I think that's very bullish for gold, because I think a weak dollar environment is far more bullish for gold than a weak euro environment, which is what we had up until recently. So if we return to a weak dollar environment, this is going to be even more bullish for gold, and I would not look at this as a sign that the gold bull market has ended. I think that this is a great buying opportunity. Maybe it goes a little bit lower. You can never time it perfectly, but I still think that the long-term uptrend is intact. And the fact that so many people are so quick to say the bull market is over shows you that this is not anywhere near a bubble. We are climbing that proverbial wall of worry in the gold market. Now, one thing that people should be worried about that nobody is really talking about is what's going on in China. People were talking about some of the protests up in Canada during the G20 meeting. What about the protests in China? We had an article on the Europac website about what's going on over there, but last night we learned that I think 8 or 9 Chinese provinces increased their minimum wage by 30%. Now that is a huge increase, and it's in response to some of these protests that we're having in China over wages. And the reason they're protesting is because inflation. Prices are rising faster than wages. The Chinese are not able to fully enjoy the fruits of their labor. I mean, think about this. China has about $2.5 trillion versus foreign reserves. That's about 60% of their GDP. Imagine if America did that. Our GDP is about 14 trillion. 60% is about 8.5 trillion. What if the United States government decided to tax Americans so it can accumulate $8.5 trillion worth of foreign reserves? It would have to tax about $30,000 for every man, woman, and child. That means a family of 4 would have to fork over $120,000. That's what the equivalent is going on in China. Now, I know there's a lot more people, so the money per person isn't as great, but the percentages are there. We would be screaming. And what would our economy be like if the government took that much of our incomes and wealth out of circulation and just stockpiled it in foreign treasuries, earning next to nothing? Because that's what's going on in China. And ultimately, the result of all of this protest is going to be the abandonment once and for all of that dollar peg. And once the Chinese currency rises dramatically, then Chinese workers will be happier because they will be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They'll be able to consume the products they produce instead of shipping to America. There'll be a lot more savings in China available to finance their economic growth instead of propping up the growth of our government and our consumers here in the United States. Now, for a while, the Chinese government, they don't want to upset the apple cart of the status quo, so they were maintaining this peg. But now that they can see that the public is upset, that there's protests in the streets, this is something that could cause some concern. And I think if we do finally begin to see a more meaningful drop in the dollar against these other currencies, maybe the bond market will finally catch on to what I've said and understand that what we're doing, keeping interest rates artificially low and trying to stimulate an economy with more debt and more credit, is very negative for our currency and our bond market. As I said many, many times, we cannot get out of this hole by digging it deeper. And that's exactly what I expect Barack Obama and Congress to be calling for before the November elections, since it's obvious that the stock market is rolling over, the economy is rolling over, that we never really emerged from the recession, that the Obama recovery is an illusion, that the Obama bull market is an illusion. They're going to pull out all the stops. They are going to press for another round of stimulus to try to jumpstart this economy. And again, all they're doing is pouring gasoline on a fire. Instead of the economy getting better, they're going to burn it to a cinder. Anyway, that's it for today. I might blog again tomorrow once we get these job numbers and we see the market reaction. Take care.